Today I want to tell you a story about a multi-tool that is one of the rarest multi-tools in the world that is still available for sale, but it's only available for certain people, and maybe you are one of the lucky few that can still buy this tool. Now, this tool was created, it was made, and it almost got universal hate, but now it is one of the gems of the world. It's September 2021. And a creator who brands himself as Brand Division on Kickstarter comes up with the idea to make the perfect grilling multi-tool. Now, keep in mind that Roxxon and many other companies have already come up with several grilling multi-tools that can fold into the handle and have all kinds of different options. But this creator decides to make a giant tong, almost like a giant fishing plier multi-tool that will have fold-out spatula. It will be a lot more compact. It will be, to some extent, a lot more portable. And he thinks that this is a great idea that probably a lot of people, maybe up to 1,000 or more people, will be very interested in. So in September 2021, he begins to think about this idea. And then by November, he is already researching and prototyping by January of 2022. The final testing is done in February, and then they start tooling in March. And then he launches the Kickstarter, the pre-sale, that August in 2022. Now, I'm sure he was expecting it to go a lot better than it did, because unfortunately in August of 2022, only 19 people backed this project that Brand Design was hoping would net him $2,000 or $27,000. Instead, he ends up with only $2,157. It is pretty much a universal failure, and by all standards, most people should have given up and just thrown in the towel and said, well, you know, it's a great tool for me, but pretty much no one else wants this tool. But not the creator behind Brand Division. He decides that he will go ahead and fund the project with the rest of the project with his own money. And so the tool is created. So after the inventor goes ahead, produces the tool largely by his own money, eventually he does sell the inventory to a trading company. And now if you're in Germany, you can actually buy this tool. You can see the Dingo multi-tool online, the barbecue tool, and there are several websites that advertise it. And so it is available to those who are in Germany. Now, a huge thanks to Jan Holmes for the video that you have been seeing on the screen. He actually bought this tool. He had to buy it through a friend of his, and then eventually he got this tool because it's only sold to people in Germany. And then he now has this tool in possession. And so he took the video that you now see. So he graciously said, go ahead and share that with your audience. Now, I want to dive into this tool a little bit because this is a rare tool that unfortunately I will probably never own. But through this video, we can see about this tool, and then Jan Holmes has also sent me some of the specifics so we can see how good is this tool. Is it really worth it for those of you in Germany? Which the short answer is yes. It is a huge collector's tool, so I think it is worth it. But it is 7.2 inches closed and 13.4 inches open. It is 513 grams. Wow, now that's over a pound. This is a very heavy tool, and Jan Holmes said that most of it actually comes from the weight of the tongs, the folding tongs that fold inside the handle. Now, when we look at the Kickstarter program and what the inventor wanted to make, he was trying to combine a lot of these tools in one. He wanted something that folded all up together, and so he was trying to put the tongs, the spatula, the knife, the cannon bottle opener, the fork, and the serrated knife. Now, one of the things that I do really love about this tool, there's a couple things, is that there are a couple tools on the outside. So what we see essentially is a huge, you could say, Leatherman super tool frame. That's the general idea that he's gone with. He's basically taken the idea of a Leatherman super tool and extended it probably about twice its size, but he has added a tool on the outside of the handle. Now, a lot of times the backside of the handle is almost lost space, and so I think that's clever how he added these fold out tools. That is really cool. On the one side is like the knife right there, and then on the other side is the fork, the serrated knife, and then the fork. That's pretty cool right there that he has used up that space. Now, the inside, we have these giant tongs right there. I have long thought that there needs to be almost like a tradesman, really large multi-tool, and I'm kicking around the idea, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, of making a huge combo wire stripper multi-tool. And I tried it once, but I have a new idea about how to do it. And so I might do that eventually, but I really like how he's put this all together. And then he has on the inside of the handle, you notice that the tongs, when they fold closed, there's enough clearance so that he can have two thinner tools on each side of the tongs. So on the one side, he will have the can opener and bottle opener, and then on the other side will be the knife. And both of these tools, actually all these tools look pretty good. Now with the spatula, I think that's pretty cool that the spatula actually fans out. So it reminds me of those fans. We would go to church camp and they would sell these fans in the bookstore because the church camp didn't have air conditioning. And that's exactly what this reminds me of, this spatula. It's actually triangular pieces of metal that you go from the top to the bottom, and then eventually they make this like scraper. So I think that's a pretty clever tool as well. All in all, I really like the design of this tool. I think he did a great job with the cutouts in the handle. I like how it looks like when it's closed. I think that's really cool. Probably the nicest looking barbecue tool I have ever seen. But as for now, this is one of those tools that even though it was only supported by 19 people, can you imagine that? In the whole world, only 19 people supported this. But now it is one of the rarest multi-tools and one of the more valuable multi-tools. So for you collectors, this is the tool to get. Now, it wasn't too long ago that I opened up this box in the mail, and this is what was waiting for me, the Woobin X1 Pro. And so thank you, Woobin, for sending this huge flashlight to me. I was shocked. This thing right here is a monster. Now, the size all makes sense when you understand a couple more things about it, but this is about 5.5 inches long. This is about 2.25 inches wide, and it is about 1 inch thick. So this is a very large tool. But one of the things I didn't realize about this is that Woobin has designed this to some extent to be a flashlight or a headlight for like cyclists. And so to me, that makes a lot of sense right here. There is a redesigned bike mount that comes with it. You can attach like this rail right here on the bottom. And then there's this attachment. You attach this to handlebars, and I think the rail slides right in there. Maybe we'll do that a little bit later, but that's pretty cool. And so when I realized what it was for, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And it has, I think they said 15 watts of output to charge cell phones, and some of the, I think the Apple phones perhaps, or some of the cell phones, they say in their literature that it can charge them twice. So that's pretty cool as well. Now, this tool right here, they advertise that it can put out up to 13,000 lumens. Now, I don't think you want me to blind you with the light of this really, but it is very, very bright. I don't think I can quite describe to you how bright it is, but yeah, it's very bright. So bright that they have actually put in a replaceable cooling fan that cools, and here is the output of the fan. Maybe if you left this on, this could also double as a personal heater in the wintertime. I don't know. But yeah, it does definitely put out a lot of heat. There's these two batteries, 4800 mAh batteries right there. And we'll slide this in, and then you can lock this. Now there's no tail switch, which on this one right here is probably a good thing. You don't want to accidentally blind yourself right there. And then this is where you charge it, and also where you can use it as a power bank. This flashlight does weigh 389 grams. Now this Woobin X1 Pro, the listing price will be $179 after the Kickstarter program. But if you can jump onto the Kickstarter program and catch one, I know some of them are already sold out, I think that I saw, but I think the Kickstarter has several days left, 27 days if I remember correctly. And they had it listed for, I think, $119 because the $99 price, I think that's already over. Now, when I first saw this flashlight, I was very excited because it looks like essentially you have the spotlight, and then you have the flood, and you have 3 different buttons, and that's basically it. But there is a little bit more functionality to it than that, and perhaps that's a good thing. So on the far left, it is the spotlight only. When we press that, it's only the spotlight. In the middle, it's the spotlight and the floodlight. Then all the way to the right, it is the floodlight only. Now, how this works is when you press this, this goes on the eco mode, and then, so let's press that there, and then low, medium, high. Now, we press it twice to go into turbo, but let's go ahead and do both right here. So, whoa. Okay, so we've got the eco, low, medium, high, and then it goes back down. So then we go to the other side, low, medium, high, right there. Very, very bright. And if you so desire to put it into the turbo mode, you can click twice. So let's put it in the middle. Click twice, and let's put on the far side. Click twice, or I guess just switch the button right there. So what you can do to get to the strobe and the SOS is you can triple click. Let's do that again. And then you can do it one more time. And then it goes into the SOS mode right there. Now with a fan control, you can do it manually with 5 clicks, or you can do it the auto. And then you can also lock this out as well, which actually is a 4 clicks. So that might be useful to you because it is very bright when it comes on. All right, so I went ahead and installed this right here, and this would go on this bike mount like so, and then it actually locks into place, and then you would put this over your handlebars like that right there, and there you go. You've got a very powerful light up to, I think they say 13,000 lumens. So I do think that this flashlight is very useful as a power bank. I think it would be extremely useful on like a bicycle for a headlight. So yeah, for a little bit over $100, I do think there's definitely some potential in this very bright light, but it is way too heavy, I think, for a personal flashlight that you would carry all the time, and way too large. But when you're using it for what it's meant for, then it does make sense.